So I'm not the greatest bike mechanic, but I do like to work on my own stuff. I'm certainly no psychic mechanic, but today on Making You Faster, we're gonna step into mass transit and we're gonna set up hookless tubeless tires by ourselves. We're not gonna use a compressor, we're gonna use the tools that you have at your house, that I have in my basement, and we're gonna set up some hookless tubeless tires because thanks to the Zipp total system efficiency, we know that hookless and tubeless is faster. So this is how we make you faster at home. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, but for now, let's pop into MASH and set up some tires. All right, so I have these Zipp 303 Firecrest hookless tubeless rims laced to some Philwood track hubs. First thing to do with anything setting up tubeless tires, make sure your rim is clean. So you want to take some rubbing alcohol, some goo off, anything that's going to clean the surface, and you want to make sure that the rim is super clean. Normally Zipp rims come pre-taped, but this one did not, so I could show you. I've got muck off tubeless rim tape right here. This is my preferred brand. This is a 25mm wide rim, and I've got, you guessed it, 25mm wide rim tape. This is my valve hole right here. I'm gonna start right here, a little bit ahead of it, and I'm gonna slowly lay the rim tape down so that it actually fits all the way in and it goes side to side from hookless bead to hookless bead all the way along the rim, making sure that the rim tape is centered in the rim as I do this. So one thing I like to do once everything is done is I actually take either my fingers or a tire lever, and you can see as I push this down right here, I'm sealing the rim strip to the side of the rim bed. Now normally a Zipp rim will come pre-taped with your valves already installed, but since we're teaching you how to do this in your garage, in your house, let's say you need to get some valve, let's say you need to replace the valves after you've rim stripped it up, they're all gunked up with sealant. I like to use muck off tubeless valves. Pretty much any valve, as long as it's long enough to go through your rim section. So make sure if you've got a deep rim, you've got long valves. All right, one of the things that I really think is super important when installing your valves is getting these little gussets right. So you can see Muck-Off comes with a number of little gussets, and you have to find one that fits the rim bed because that little plastic grommet is what keeps the seal between the valve and the rim bed. So you've got your X-Acto knife. This is dangerous, you know, knife safety to cut away from yourself. Don't cut down, don't stab yourself like this. Poke a little hole in the rim tape with an X-Acto knife right above the valve, like a starter hole for when you put the valve in. So we're gonna eyeball it, we're gonna be safe, you can hear it. Ooh, pop. Now that this Presto valve's kind of twisted up, it's a little pointy thing, we're gonna find that hole that we poked. Oop, there it is. We're gonna install the valve, push it all the way down. Get your little rubber gasket thing, put it up there, get the nut, thread the nut on. As I hand tighten it, I can see the valve tightening down a little bit and sucking in, and then the last thing you gotta do is get a tool. This is an 11mm wrench. You could also use a pair of vice grips or something like that, and kind of give it a couple revolutions with a little bit longer of a torque. It's really important to make sure that you're using a tubeless compatible tire. Not all tires are tubeless compatible, so make sure when you're installing a tubeless tire that it's actually a tubeless tire and not a clincher tire that you're putting on there, because it will not work. Getting on there, make sure to always line up your logos with your valves for ultimate pro moves. All right, so I just got my one bead on, didn't have to use a tire lever because I'm baller like that. The second bead is the hard part. One thing I like to do is you put it down and you actually push the tire down and you kind of use the tire to stretch. Another good trick is to keep the bead in the rim bed. Since the rim bed dips down a little, if you can get the bead in the rim bed, you could actually get a little more leverage and a little more tire to work with, so to say. So we have a compressor right behind me, but we're not going to use it because most people don't have compressors in their houses. So to set one tire, I'm going to use this, which is my personal favorite, is an air shot canister. I'm going to use a regular pump to inflate this to like 140 PSI, and then you actually put this in the valve core and blow the tire on with this. I will thread this directly into the valve core. Ooh, yeah, first try. Okay, something that's important to note. This is what a tire looks like when it's properly seated on the rim. This is what a tire looks like when it is not properly seated on the rim. Now this is okay, because right now we just wanted to get the tire mostly seated on. We're gonna pull this thing off, we're gonna add sealant, and then we're gonna actually pump it up all the way. We're gonna hear a couple more pops, but if your tire looks like this, do not ride it. Make sure you have it seated properly. If you can't do it at home, take it to a bike shop and seat it properly, but don't ride your tire like this. Some people like to pour the sealant into the tire before they seat the tire on the rim. To me, that's really messy and horrible and disgusting. So I use these amazing little syringes. For mountain bike tires, you probably want about 2 ounces. Since this is a 28C road tire, I want about 1.5 ounces. Get your syringe, get your rag. This is when you will then install your valve core again. Look at that inside. Ooh, tight but not too tight. And then we're gonna pump it all the way up and hopefully the tire will seat all the way and we'll be good to go. This is part of my cross training. This is how I stay fit. I don't know if it's sad or not. So you gotta hear the pop. Oh, okay, it popped. Listen to it, be like a wheel whisperer. Definitely around the valve hole, and you listen for air escaping. And so that's how you're gonna know if it's actually seated all the way, is you kind of just vibe with the wheel and listen to it like this. And you don't hear any air, it means you're good. If you do hear air, that means you got a problem. Also, shake it like a Polaroid picture. Everyone's down with the Outcast song. If it's not seating, sometimes you just gotta get sealant in there. So you just kind of do one of these, you know, flip it around, shake it a bunch, listen to it, listen to the wheel, let the wheel talk to you. All right, so we just set up these Zipp 303 Firecrest hookless tubeless rims. We set them up with some Schwabel 700 by 28 tires. We put the rim tape on, we installed the valves, we seated the tires, we put sealant in there, we gave it the shake test, we became tire whisperers to hear if there's any air leaking out. These things are ready to go. Something that's worth noting when you set these up, this is probably gonna be about 70 PSI max. That's about the max for the rims. Always pay attention to the max PSI for the rim and the tire. Put it up pretty high to set it up so everything can see. Go ride your tire for a little bit. Then after you ride it for maybe 20 or 30 minutes and it's actually set a little bit, then you can lower the tire pressure to like 50 PSI and really go to shred. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions about seating tubeless tires, setting up tubeless, what to do, drop them in the comments. Till next time, making you faster.